Coming up now on Animal Outtakes,
we feel like there needs to be more to help preserve this incredible animal.
we're getting wild at Wild Florida.
Hold right there. Good boy.
This park wants you to get close and personal with its residents. It is their hope that you will build a lasting appreciation for some unique and sometimes misunderstood animals.
They are absolutely beautiful as long as those quills stay right where they're supposed to.
Our Inspector Planet is looking into the intriguing world of metamorphoses.
Where are they? I don't see them anywhere.
You're not gonna find his gills.
And we're going on a boat ride with Sarasota Bay explorers to take a look at some of the creatures hiding under the water. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. An experience can last a lifetime, and this park knows how to make a lasting impression. It's called Wild Florida, and you would have to be a little wild yourself when it comes to the interactions guests can do. Encounters with sloths and lemurs and even some pokey residents, to name a few. Join us as we take a tour of Wild Florida.
This morning, the crew and I left our home base of Sarasota, Florida. We headed east and continued to head east. And here we are.
You made it.
In the middle of nowhere.
That's right.
At Wild Florida. How did we stumble across you?
Well, probably not by accident, because we're a little bit off the beaten path and a little bit further out than most people want to travel, but it's worth the drive.
What are we bordering here? There's a magnificent lake.
Yes, so this is beautiful Lake Cypress. It's about a 4,000 acre body of water, very shallow, only about 5 feet deep, surrounded by endless hundreds of thousands of acres of swamps, marshes, waterways that make up the headwaters of the Everglades.
So what made you decide to come here and then have all of these magnificent animals around you?
Yeah, so we looked for years for the right location to set up an ecotourism destination, and we wanted to find one of the most pristine places and really had a vision of something like this. And when we found it, we knew this is the spot. We got to have it.
So what would we see as we begin our tour of the park?
On land in our gator park, we're going to see everything from alligators to zebras. Some native animals to Florida like foxes, raccoons, deer, alligators, but also exotics from all over the world. Zebras, sloths, lemurs, crocodiles, some really cool stuff, and really something for everyone.
Now, what type of animals can we safely interact with?
Yeah, not all of them, but a lot of them. And really, that's kind of our philosophy, is that seeing something and getting a picture of it is cool and memorable, but getting hands-on and actually feeding, touching, holding an animal becomes unforgettable and really creates that connection that people need, I think, to be able to get involved and perhaps conserve, protect, and preserve animals in the wild. That's really our mission, is we want people to make a connection with some of these animals and go home and say, how can I help preserve that animal? Our animal ambassadors they're just the best in the world at being able to create that connection. And some of those include porcupines, lemurs, sloths, albino alligators, crocodiles, and crusher.
So we're trying to get him to spin on command, so let's... Right like that, good boy, come on. There you go.
He's a 14-foot monster alligator that you can actually get in and have lunch with.
Sure.
With.
With. Are we the lunch?
No.
Oh my goodness, they're huge.
So we do have our two girls here. We have Stella and Safari. Stella is around 5 years old. Safari is around 4. So
Now,
they're both still younger.
How did they end up here at Wild Florida?
Most of our animals come from other facilities. Tortellini, the leopard tortoise, is actually a rescued animal, so lot of reptiles, birds, sometimes people can't take care of. They don't realize how long they live, and then they end up here with us, where they'll spend the rest of their lives here.
Now these were bigger than I thought they were going to be. I thought we were going to have little guys. But of course, let's talk about those stingers, for lack of a better word.
So for their quills there, so they're actually made of keratin, so the same stuff that makes up our nail and our hair. Misconception with porcupines is that they're going to shoot their quills at you. They actually can't shoot them out. So what they do is they will puff up and then they're going to run backwards and spear you. Or if it's a predator chasing them, they're going to just come to a dead stop and then the predator is going to run into their quills. And then they're designed to fall out. So even in here, they do fall out. Now these are the largest of the porcupine species, and they're the 3rd largest rodent in the world. And these girls are actually on the tinier side, around 35 pounds. The males can get to be about 60 pounds. And females usually top out around 40.
And they're absolutely gorgeous.
They are.
They are a beautiful rodent.
They are very cute rodent. Now Stella here, so I have their favorite treat, which are peanuts. Hi, Stella. So with a rodent, they're a herbivore. We give them a variety of fruits, veggies. They get a special rodent chow, and then they get the peanuts here for a special treat.
We're in the business of helping people make a connection with animals, and what they see on TV kind of just starts the process, but it doesn't meet all their needs, and really kind of gets people interested in saying, I want to learn more about that animal, I need to get hands-on, but they can't afford to go to Costa Rica or Africa or some of these other places where the animals reside, and so they say, where can I go and see more about this sloth or this crocodile? And we provide that experience for them so they can create an unforgettable experience that makes them say, now I know I love this animal and I want to get more involved and help conserve and protect it out in the wild.
How about another encounter? This time with the Florida state reptile, the alligator. At Wild Florida, there was one big guy we just couldn't miss.
Hold. Hold right there. 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 And you can see he's literally just holding there, even after backing away. It's not something an alligator would ever do. Hold right there. But as long as I ask him to hold still, and he will, and the reason for it, and hopefully this gives you a good sound bite, is that right there.
Andrew, you have a buddy down there who's not moving too much, but we know he's there. This is the famous Crusher.
That's right, yeah, he's world famous.
Tell us about him.
So yeah, Crusher here. He's our longest American alligator we have in the whole park. He's kind of our pride and joy. He's the superstar in one of the shows. We do 3 shows here a day, and he's the star of one of them. We do a Crusher show with him, and he's our best conditioned, best trained alligator. So believe it or not, you can train alligators, which I know sounds crazy. I know you're probably looking at me like I have 5 heads. But we'll actually go through the motions with them, and you can see, usually, knock on wood, what a good boy he is.
And he moved.
Yeah. they can actually feel vibration moving around up here. They have these little sensory organs all over their face. That kind of helps them hunt, so they can feel fish swimming around their face at night. So yeah, any sensation up here will kind of get them going. One of the main reasons we do this training with them, this is great enrichment for the animals. It really keeps their lives interesting, it keeps them stimulated, but also it helps aid in their own veterinary care. So what we can have them do, I can ask them to come over to me, hold still, and then work safely around them. So what I'm going to try to do right now is just work on some desensitization with Crusher, which is just a big fancy word saying getting him used to the touch. So I've got my knee all the way under him. I'm asking him to hold still the whole time, and then I'm just going to get him used to facial touches, because yeah, one of the reasons we do this is if a veterinarian ever had to come in here and kind of do any kind of workup of Crusher, if he needed to kind of check out his eyes, his ears, his nostrils. So I'm actually taking my fingers, rubbing them all along his eyes. This doesn't hurt him or anything like that. but he could definitely feel this. I've actually gotten him to the point where I can get up on his ear flaps, hold right there, hold right there, hold right there. And I've actually gotten this boy to the point where if I ask him to hold still, I can do some tooth desensitization. I'm actually a aspiring alligator dentist, so hold right there. So I actually have my fingertips on his teeth, hold, 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 hold. I'm actually putting a lot of pressure here and not even moving, so I'm gonna ask you to come up just a little bit. Hold right there. Good boy.
So when you talk about training, I mean, we're not training for entertainment or any such thing like that, but we are training with positive reinforcement, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And his positive reinforcement is obviously food.
Food, yeah.
Preferably not the two-legged kind.
We try to avoid that, yeah.
What is his favorite food?
His favorite food is actually chicken. So they do have taste buds, and they really are characters. They're all a little different. Some like chicken, some like other forms of red meat, like say beef. They make a pelleted crocodilian food, almost like a dog food, and some of them will only eat that. But yeah, his favorite is chicken. So during the shows and while we do training sessions with him, he gets mostly chicken gizzards. I'm surprised somebody likes those things, but
I do.
Fair enough, didn't mean to offend you.
Yeah, no offense.
But yeah, he loves chicken gizzards, and then we'll give him drumsticks and some other stuff like that. Every once in a while, we'll switch it up and give him things like tilapia as well.
How old do we think Crusher is?
So we don't know exactly how old he is. Crusher is an alligator who was originally in the FWC's nuisance trapped program.
And that's the Florida Wildlife.
Yes, yeah. FWC is like our fishing game here.
Yes.
So kind of the way it goes with alligators in this program, if an alligator is deemed a potential threat to people, pets, or livestock, they will get trapped. 9 times out of 10, maybe that's even too short. A lot of them, unfortunately, when they're deemed a nuisance, a trapper will go out and the alligator is harvested. They're euthanized for their leather and their meat. Luckily for him, he got brought to an alligator farm at first. So he came out of the wild as a full-grown adult alligator. He lived out on an alligator farm for a little while. And he's been here for about 5 or 6 years now. But he didn't live in here at first. When we actually first brought him here, he lived out in the center pond. I don't know if you guys can really see, but we have a big center pond right behind us with all of our other nuisance trapped alligators. But when we started to do this kind of hands-on conditioning, the training with him, he was the best at it.
He excelled.
Was big, yeah. He excelled. He excelled and he's big. You're my good boy.
Coming up next on Animal Outtakes,
Kid questions!
you have animal questions? Dr. Tracy has the answers. And
So I have this question. You know how Ariel in The Little Mermaid was once a mermaid and then came on land and had feet and was able to breathe air? Are there any species in the animal kingdom that can actually do that?
that's next. Science is everywhere, and it's all around us. It's observing the world, forming questions, and the willingness to find the answers. It's something our Inspector Planet does every day, and you can too.
My name is Dr. Tracy Fanara, research scientist and environmental engineer. At Mote Marine Laboratory, I use investigation and experimentation to answer questions. Most of the Earth is covered in water, which means that there are many species that live in the water. And sometimes when I'm snorkeling or scuba diving and I see all these beautiful fish, I wish that I can be part of their world. That reminds me of a song. There may not be mermaids. However, I wonder if there are some species that can live parts of their life both in the water and on land. Hey, Devin.
Hey.
You're a biologist, right?
Yes.
So I have this question. You know how Ariel in The Little Mermaid was once a mermaid and then came on land and had feet and was able to breathe air? Are there any species in the animal kingdom that can actually do that? Be in the water and then on land, or on land and then in the water? Can they have two separate lives in two separate worlds?
Yes. So there's a group of animals called amphibians. So they're cold-blooded vertebrates. They have a backbone. And one distinct characteristic is that they spend part of their life in the water with gills and then part of their life on land with lungs.
Amphibians. Amphibians are some of my favorite animals. I didn't realize this about them. I happen to have my Hopper right here. That's what I call him. I call him Hopper because, trust me, he hops. So, they have gills and then they have lungs. Excuse me.
You're not going to see them.
Where are the gills? Where did the gills go?
So frogs have 4 distinct different life stages. So they start as an egg, and then they move to a tadpole, and that's when they have the gills. So they move to another stage called a froglet, which is like a teenager frog. And then they go to an adult frog. So you're only going to see the gills during the tadpole stage.
How do they develop lungs? Do their gills become lungs, or are they separate organs altogether?
They're kind of separate. So as the frog, well, the tadpole goes into that teenager froglet stage, their skin grows over their gills and completely covers them, and then internally they develop their lungs.
Huh. That's amazing. There's no sign of his former life whatsoever. These guys are tricky. It's like magic. Maybe that whole prince thing is true. So just like Ariel from The Little Mermaid, some animals start in water and then live the rest of their life on land. Married to a prince and, well, let's try it. Waiting for the magic. Hey, when are you gonna be 6'2"? Blue eyes, brown hair. Did I put my order in? So remember guys, anyone could be a scientist or an engineer with some passion, hard work, and an innate curiosity of how the world works.
Dr. Tracy comes up with some very interesting topics, and we know that there are some budding scientists out there watching right now. So we thought we'd answer some of your questions.
Hey Dr. Tracy, why do fish have slimy stuff all over them?
Well, Morgan, some fish are slimy, some are actually more slimy than others. Fish have a mucus-like coating on their body, and while it may feel icky to you and I, that slime coat or glycoprotein actually protects the fish, helping to keep parasites away and covering up and protecting any scrapes or wounds a fish might get. Some fish use their slime to protect themselves from an attack by basically making a cocoon out of it, covering their entire body, while other fish have a toxin in their slime. So if a fish goes to take a bite, well, it won't end up too good for that predator.
Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, hop on board as we're exploring an extremely unique ecosystem and discovering the animals that live there. Estuaries play an important role in the health of our environment overall, and there are a lot of animals that are essential to the well-being of this unique and often overlooked ecosystem.
As a biologist for Sarasota Bay Explorers, our job is to narrate the experience and make it fun for people so that they can learn and they're interested in learning the health of the bay and the animals in it. And the goal for us is to make it meaningful enough to them to where they're inspired to take more action in helping their environment, helping our environment. We really try to bring people to a different level of consciousness so that we're making a difference in the world. 1, 2, 3. We actually threw a trawl net out into the water and we caught some animals. We are permitted to do this, so we have permission to use this type of net and to collect these animals. I see some fish. We do release them at the end of the day. So no grouper sandwiches, no crab cakes for anybody. But these are some of the fish that we caught, and this very first one is a pinfish. In this area, pinfish are usually used as bait. So fishermen, fisherwomen will use them to put on the end of their line, catch larger organisms like shark and tarpon even. And with pinfish and any other fish, it's all about the details of the animal, what they look like, the shape of the body, the stripes or any patterns that might be on them, any special details in the dorsal fin or the eyes or the face or just anything helps us to give a better clue about who we're looking at. Many of these animals can look very similar, but this is the pinfish, and its signature marks are those vertical black bars and also some horizontal yellow striping. It also has one dot on either side of its head right behind the gills. A fish that looks very similar to the pinfish is the silver Jenny Mohara, but you can see it doesn't have any striping on it. It doesn't have any black barring, no horizontal stripes, and it doesn't have those black dots on either side of the head. So we know that it's not the pinfish, and the silver Jenny Mohara is known because it is so silver. And the shape of the body, you can see how the tail, that caudal fin splits. You can see that on the top, this dorsal fin, it ascends and then gets smaller, and all of those things matter. Also, the silver Jenny Mohara is really slimy, and that is because it has an immune system that it wears as a coat on the outside of its body, making it so slippery to the touch. But that mucus system helps to prevent any germs that might be on our hands or any germs floating around in the water from getting into their bodies and making them sick. These two species are not fully grown. The pinfish can get over 8 inches. The Mohara, I think, can get about 6 inches, but we usually see them both at this size, and that's because we are in an estuary. So lots of really young animals make up the populations that live here. Most of the species that we catch are the smaller sizes.
Stay with us. There's more Animal Outtakes coming up next.
Show a little enthusiasm here.
Animal Outtakes is produced by Dante's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dante's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org. We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. We will be back here again next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching.
You are not helping.
Intriguing world of what? Of metamorphosis?
Metamorphosis.
Okay, I thought it was meta horses. Okay. Okay. This is my finger. I'm gonna have to get you a binky. Yeah. Faces.
All right.
And we'll just stand a little over here.
It's a good sign of common
Okay.
sense. Get away from the giant alligator. Now, you guys will be totally fine in here, though. I mean, he only tends to eat on like Tuesdays, so I think we're fine.
I think we're good. We are filming on Tuesdays.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Hey, Devin.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Safari likes to puff up like a toddler and kind of put her back to you. She just wants to see if she's going to get a reaction.
Thank you, Stella. That was sweet.
You're okay.
Okay.
You reacted just the way she wanted you to.